Hello. So I did not realize this was out. So, how's everybody doing? Um, I was inspired to talk about sugar today. And the reason is because, I don't know, some of you may have seen my husband in my picture that I posted because I'm so proud of him. He overcame a huge thing when he lost that weight. So I decided to talk a little bit about sugar and the addiction process of that and how we deal with that. Hi everyone who's coming in. I love seeing your posts and comments and whatnot. Thank you. All right, so let's get into it. Did you know that heroin and cocaine are addictive drugs? I'm sure you did. Now let me ask you this. Did you know that sugar, the stuff that's found in cereal and that soda you were drinking today perhaps, the Snapple, and so many other things that we have, those are addictive as well? Could you imagine being addicted to the thing that's like right in the grocery store in the Entenmann's aisle? It's so interesting. I read it in this book, The Overweight Mind. And in chapter 9, I'm going to talk about chapter 9 today. Chapter 9, it says, fueling your body versus failing your body. What are you feeding your body? And he goes to talk about the addiction properties of sugar. So I'm going to talk to you about, you ever heard of this, like the sugar rush or the sugar craving or the sugar high or the sugar crash? All these words, it's from, somebody wrote, sugar is cancer lover. Yes, I thought you said you're a sugar lover. I didn't understand what you said. Okay, so yes, sugar is bad. So what I was saying was that, I'm sorry, I get so like lost quickly. I'm so sad. All right, my son actually spoke about this in his science project because he was inspired by my husband's transformation, and super excited. I'm dedicating this Facebook Live to him today because I know it was a huge struggle for him. Actually, I have some people that I'm helping out now, and the first days are the hardest because it's exactly this. You going through withdrawal. You know, people around this person need to understand, whoever is dealing with a person who's working on taking away all the processed sugar. Have you ever done that where you removed all of the processed sugar in your life? It's huge. The response, the body's response to wanting it is huge. That's how you know you're addicted to anything, because you have to fight this intensely insane urge not to fall into that trap. What is the trap? What does it look like? Okay. So the body is always trying to maintain homeostasis. The body's always trying to find a level ground. So when it sees something like sugar or sugary donuts or something that it's thinking, oh, I'm going to have this right now, all of a sudden the body's insulin level rises to eat up all the sugar that's excess in the blood, and you feel hungry. You're like, wow, I didn't know I was really hungry for that donut or that bagel. I see it, but now I really want it. What happened? The body's preparing for you to eat it. So it sees it, it's triggering the thought that I need to eat that right now. So the level of the sugar is dropping, you feel hungry, and the body's preparing. So when you eat it, the sugar level rises, you get the dopamine rush, which the dopamine drug, that's the same chemical substance that's released when a heroin shoots himself up, right? They shoot up. And or when like a cocaine addict, whenever they take cocaine, they feel the same response. They get that feeling. And if you've ever felt this, you bite into something and you're like, ah, oh, that felt so good. That right there, that's the dopamine release. You feel that. You feel so good inside. That's what emotional eaters feel when they eat it. They're like, yes, that's what I wanted. I wanted to just release all the tension. I just wanted that good feeling, and it came so quick. And it's so readily available. Everyone can have it. It's everywhere. Just go to the grocery section. Okay, so when you eat it, the dopamine level rises, and then the insulin sees all of this sugar and starts to be released. When it gets released, thank you, Uzema. When it gets released, what happens? It starts to store all of the sugar as fat. And then the body's like, wait, I feel really drowsy and tired. You know that feeling after you had a big dinner on Thanksgiving, turkey dinner, whatever, and you're just like, I feel like sleeping, I'm so drowsy. What is that? That's the body's response to store all that sugar as fat. And now you're like, I could really eat another piece of pie. Because your body's saying, we don't have any more dopamine. We just kind of depleted the resources because we're trying to level out the playing field now. I want more. So you end up craving again, and the vicious cycle perpetuates, but to a higher degree each time. Because the thing with addiction is, next time it just needs a little bit more to hit the sweet spot. And that's why it becomes a vicious cycle that could lead to really bad, for food it's obesity, for drugs it's death, right? I mean, you could get death from obesity too, but not that fast like you can from heroin when you die. Okay, so moving on. You get really sick when you feed into the sugar cycle. When you try to stop, your body ends up saying, hey, what's happening? I feel really irritable. I want it so bad. And if you don't grab it, you start to develop withdrawal, which is what I experienced with my husband the first few days, and a lot of people experience the first few days, they just want it so bad. If they overcome that urge, eventually the body maintains a new homeostasis where they start to understand, like, oh, we're eating differently now. I'm not releasing all of that, all of that feelings of wanting, that craving. It starts to develop a new sense of normal. Okay. So, ask yourself, what are you feeding yourself? Are you feeding yourself fuel food or garbage food? Because the food you fill yourself with, either nutrition, either builds you or it poisons you. And if anything can be said about the picture of my husband from before and after, it says a lot. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I think that picture is worth 1,000,000 words because it shows like age. He looks like 20 years younger to me. Like somebody just said to me, he looked like he was 40 in the first picture and he looks like he's like 25 in the second. The truth is, he's neither of those ages. but the thing with getting healthy and like not needing that craving, constantly feeding your body, is you're in control. You're fueling it with things that are not processed anymore. You're working on yourself. Okay. So action steps. Let's work on helping ourselves, because this is literally the hardest thing you could do, which is control, self-control. The first thing is, I want you to list, and this is what he says, I want you to list 3 foods you know that are like a drug. You know what is your craving. You know what you love. Those 3 things, write them down. Now, tell yourself, if you find them in the house, you have to get rid of them, because the same way a heroin addict doesn't keep heroin in his house if he's trying to get rid of it, he doesn't stay with heroin addicts if he's trying to stay away from heroin. The same way you got to keep yourself in a different space, mindful, and also around you. You can't be surrounding yourself. Like, if you know when you drive to work, you passing by that, wherever that place is that you love, whatever it is they give, that processed sugary sweetie thing, take a different route. Teach yourself to control yourself by creating a gate for yourself and not falling into that trap. Okay? And flip it with listing 3 foods that you can replace it with, 3 nutritious foods. And I want to end with this book, sorry, which is Ethics of Our Fathers, which is the theme for the summertime. We read it every week. And it really fits here because in one spot it said there, who is strong? Who is considered a strong person? Is a strong person like Samson, who like is able to be like a huge warrior, is that considered a strong person? By traditional standards, like a strong person would be like The Rock or something, right? He's strong, he's physical. But no, here it says, who is a strong person? A person who's able to control his natural instincts, his natural inclination. And that natural response when you see a craving to control yourself, you are a strong person. According to the Bible, you are considered a very strong person, because that's the hardest thing you could do. Ask any heroin or any addict, was it hard to stop? Yes, it was the hardest thing. Actually, this is appropriate to mention, I worked in detox years ago in Woodhull Hospital in Brooklyn, and it was literally the scariest time of my life because every patient I was admitting was addicted to something very, very illegal. So, or mildly legal, you know, like alcohol. And it was sad to hear their stories, but I learned something. Going through that process to get admitted, to get yourself healthy again, is a huge accomplishment. So if you are trying to get out of a situation, you're a very strong person. Even just thinking to get healthy with, in terms of whatever it is, drugs, food, whatever, that is huge. That is the hardest thing you could possibly try to accomplish. You're not considered strong if you wrestle somebody and win. You're considered strong if you wrestle your mind and win, right? Because you overcame your own natural feelings, the urge. You said, no, I'm in charge. And you are. Then when you do that, you feel very empowered. All right, guys. I want to spread you the power and the joy, and I hope you find your strength, your inner strength, to get through whatever challenges you're facing. And thank you for joining. Talk to you later. Bye.